Hi, my name is Lauren Fletcher, and today I will be doing an individual case analysis on case 3-4, Franklin Industries. I will be doing a giving voice to values case analysis where I will discuss 4 main questions, and that is, what are the main arguments we are going to consider? What is at stake for the key parties involved? What can you do to influence your opponents? And overall, what is the best course of action to take? So a little backstory on this particular case. So at Franklin Industries, they have appointed CPA Natalie Garson, and Natalie was actually approached by the accounting staff who had found an alleged embezzlement transactions. And Natalie did some research on what the accounting staff brought to her, and she found that these transactions were between General Manager Denny King of Franklin Industries and Vic Construction. After a little more research, we found out that Vic Construction is owned by Denny's sister, Victoria. And once they added up all of the different transactions, it came out to be around $5 million that they were embezzling from Franklin Industries. After doing this research, Natalie decided to bring this to the HR department, and she was actually dismissed and then demoted as their staff supervisor instead of their CPA. And she really didn't understand why, and she was kind of frustrated, but then she was waiting for HR to get back to her on results from what they had found when they started doing research. So 6 months later, Natalie was informed by the HR department that there was no retaliation against her, and that, in fact, there was no signs of embezzlement at all. And this really frustrated Natalie, and she did not understand what was going on, and so she reached out to her good friend that also worked at Franklin Industries. He had been a part of the company for about 6 years, and after explaining what happened to him, he reminded her of their company culture. And at Franklin Industries, the culture is do not rock the boat. And he actually suggested that she should keep quiet and not continue to pursue the matter further, that it would be in the best interest of her and the company if she just stayed quiet. And Natalie has a very strong code of ethics, and she's not the type to remain quiet. She wanted, as we can see, she wanted HR to know, she wanted to tell others. And in that moment, with her good friend telling her to keep quiet, she was forced with an ethical dilemma of, do I remain quiet? I've already gone to the HR department once and they said it was nothing, or do I follow my instinct and reach out to the SEC or more internal or external auditors? So right now she is forced with trying to decide what to do next. What is the next step? So I first want to answer the first question that I have for you guys, and that is, what are the main arguments to consider? And like I just said, the main arguments are, does she need to report this problem again and continue pursuing this, or does she need to stay quiet? Because HR already knows, and they already dismissed her, and which, from what we can tell, it really does seem like there was embezzlement charges from Denny to his sister and the fake company of Vic Construction. So those are our main arguments right now. And the second question that I want to answer is, what is at stake for the key parties involved? And so what's at stake for Natalie is that if she were to stay quiet and let this all go away, then she would be having so much guilt for her decision. We are taught in accounting that we are to make wise choices and make ethical decisions, and for her to keep quiet about a fraud charge would just flood her with guilt. And second, if she were to pursue the matter further, then she could risk being demoted yet again, or even fired, since they already chose to demote her once. So that's kind of what's at stake for Natalie. And also, what's at stake for everyone else is Denny. He could be fired for being in doing these illegal transactions. There could be very serious legal charges against Denny and Vic Construction and the CEO. A lot of people are at stake, especially her friend that she reached out to in the company. Later on, if she were to keep quiet and then these charges, and then the embezzlement were to be found out later, yet again, they could all get in trouble for staying quiet. So a lot of people can be affected by this decision, whether she chooses to stay quiet or to come forward with this information. So that's what's at stake for our key parties. And then the third question that I want to answer is, what can you use to influence your opponents? So there are many levers that Natalie can use to influence the key parties. And the issue requires informing top management. And if she were to inform top management of the alleged fraud charge, that they need to take rectifying actions, and they may need to tell the internal auditor or the external auditor. She can reach out to all of these people to continue to find information about what was actually going on and be able to fix the problem. And so she could talk to any of those people. And if that didn't work, or if she did not feel comfortable going to people within the company, then she could reach out to the SEC and inform them of what she had found. And so those are some of the things that she can use to influence her opponents. And now I'm going to answer the very last question, which is, overall, what is the best course of action to take? So as we've previously talked about, Natalie has already come forward to the HR department regarding the potential or the alleged embezzlement charges. And since they already dismissed her, well, clearly they knew that something was going on and that they should continue to pursue this, even though they told her that nothing was found. So it's clear right there that from the start, Natalie was utilizing a great and strong code of ethics. So what I would do, the best course of action, if I were Natalie, is I would reach out to internal and external auditors. I would also go to the SEC and I would explain to them what happened yet again and tell them about what happened with HR. Continue to pursue this matter, because clearly there is an issue. There was $5 million that has been transferred into this fake company owned by the sister, and I would continue to pursue it further. And so that's the best course of action that I would take. And then the very last thing that I want to talk about, so in our textbook, it actually mentions if we think that Natalie would have sufficient evidence to be a whistleblower, to file a whistleblower claim with the SEC. And when looking in the textbook, we have the Dodd-Frank Act, and the Dodd-Frank Act actually talks about how internal auditors or internal accountants and external accountants, internal accountants are actually excluded from becoming whistleblowers. But there are a few exceptions to this, and those three are that if the SEC is notified to help prevent a significant financial loss, if the whistleblower believes that there is misconduct regarding the investigation, and if the whistleblower internally reported the issue without any action being taken by the company for at least 120 days, you would qualify for filing a whistleblower claim. And by reviewing each of those, Natalie actually does fall under every one of those. There is a significant financial loss of $5 million. There was misconduct regarding the investigation, so she was actually demoted for bringing this problem to the HR department. And then they waited 6 months before they ever did anything, which exceeds the 120 days. So Natalie does qualify to file a whistleblower claim under the Dodd-Frank Act. So that So that answers all the questions within the book, and I have really enjoyed actually going through this case. I find it very interesting, and I've learned so much through all of this. And so once again, this was case 3-4 for Franklin Industries, and thank you.